All right. And we're back and we're here, the two talking fools. And today we have on our guest. Thank you, John Peffer. Thank you to the Two Talking Fools Clubhouse. Welcome.
Thank you. I'm glad to be here.
So, John, as you know, the way that we initially kind of hooked up here is I'm a avid TikToker and I follow amazing people just like yourself. Um, it's funny because recently in our town, we had somebody that is very well known and dear to a lot of people passed away from ALS. And it was quick and it was sudden. And she was in her 60s and it happened so fast. And I feel like it was just fate listening to you talk about your story. Um,
Yeah.
And she shared your TikToks, and we were like, "Oh my goodness, we have to have him on the show." So
Uh,
thank you for spending the afternoon with us.
Well, thank you for having me. Yes, it's a terrible disease. It's just something has to be done about it.
could we start, John? Could we kind of start with kind of who you were as a person before your diagnosis and kind of what life looked like for you?
Yeah, sure. Well, I live in Kittery, Maine. I'm married. I have three children. Um, I've always been in sales my whole life, and I've done a lot of traveling, especially over in Asia. And back in like 1998, my father was diagnosed with ALS and he passed in 2001. And at that point in time, there was not a lot of talk and discussion about hereditary and all this. And come to find out in the summer of 2023, I had I'll show you my hand. It's not pretty, but I felt my pinky finger and my ring finger, something was going on. And my wife's an occupational therapist, thank God. And we went to um, orthopedic, and he said it was something to do with my ulnar nerve was pinching. But then I kind of began to tell him my story a little bit, and he goes, "Oh, maybe we should have you go and get um, an EMG," which we did in Portsmouth, New Hampshire. And at that point in time, I'm kind of like, the first thing from my mind was like ALS kind of. And he said, "Oh, you should probably go down to Boston." And I said, "What's the problem?" And he goes, "Oh, I'm not sure, but you should probably get a second opinion," which I did. And, you know, came back, they diagnosed me with ALS. And I carry what they call as the C9 mutation gene. So, and ever since then, I've been battling this disease.
Yeah. So, what does life look like once you got the diagnosis?
Yeah, prior to getting diagnosed, I was very active. I loved working outside. Um, I loved all sports, swimming, paddleboarding, you name it, I would do it. And now, like I said, I got fully diagnosed in April of 2024, but my wife and I kind of really knew long before that I, that I had it. So, since then, my life is pretty boring. Um, I can walk with a rollator and what we call AFOs on my two legs from the knee down. Stairs. Um, yeah, I'm not too good at anything these days, other than I can still talk. Um, so when I was still working when I got diagnosed. I was sitting over in Japan, of all places, and I was going into a semiconductor capital equipment place. And you had to get into one of those clean suits. Eh, boy, I was struggling to get into that. And I remember coming home as my wife and said, "That's it. I'm done. I quit. I'm just gonna become an advocate for this damn disease." And that was it. And since then, I do a lot of, I do a daily TikTok and share it to Instagram and Facebook about my daily struggles. And early on, it was, you know, you know, I fell down today. I came inside with 2 pizzas and I was coming in the side door and I fell down into the bushes. And all I do is I remember looking over and seeing one of my beagles on the pizza box. And I was like, good God, damn pizza's gonna be ruined. So I try to keep things with a little bit of humor because, I guess, as I said in one of my TikToks before, they said, how come you're so positive on your messages? And I said, well, maybe it's my history of being in sales. I can't go out and speak to a customer negatively. And right now, I'm in the sale of my life, meaning I'm trying to get through this. So it is what it is.
John, I have to say, you do have a fantastic personality, though. Like, when you're telling us about falling down, I'm like, oh my goodness, like, my heart. And you're like, all the pizzas are going to be ruined. Like, that's amazing to have such a strong, like, positive, thought process, especially with going through everything you're going through. If you don't mind my asking, do you feel like there's any misconceptions about ALS that you want to just maybe clarify for some people?
Well, a lot of people don't know about ALS unless you know someone that's had it. There's only 30,000 people in the U.S. that have the disease at any given point. So, we lose one, we pick one up. We lose one. So it's, unfortunately, it's just that it's very tough because the pharmaceutical companies aren't going to waste their time on it. Meaning it's underfunded drug. And if they came out with something, it would cost millions to take. So, um, it's a horrendous disease. I have what they call limb onset. So it started in my limbs. Um, and I guess you might consider me somewhat of a slow progressor, but I don't feel that way. I feel like, oh shoot, if another 2 years the way it's happening, it's not going to be good. So, um, I don't want anybody to feel sorry for me. It is what it is. We all have to leave the world at some point in day. I always hoped one day I just wouldn't wake up, but that's not the case. So I just make light of my struggles and take it day by day. Every day is a different battle of some sort. So um, hopefully I answered your question.
No, I think that was excellent. You brought up a good point. You said that it's very underfunded, and there's probably 30,000 people that have to deal with such a horrible disease. A lot of the times you see a lot of like the ALS ice bucket challenges and things like that. Do you think that there's like I always feel like there's more that people can do to bring awareness to something like this? What do you think that like as a society could be done to bring more awareness and say, hey, this is something that really needs to be studied and focused on a little bit more? What do you think like could be done as a society?
Well, I don't want to get into politics here by any means. But,
Understandable. Yeah,
there's a lot of people in this country that are in poverty or have to have one of these dreadful diseases. And I'm always on the belief, let's take care of people that are here first. And that's my thought process.
absolutely.
Um, and again, I don't want to get into a political debate, but um, it's just there's not enough people out there that have this disease. I'm actually going to Washington D.C. on Tuesday to speak with Congress members. I got invited by the ALS Association, and they paid for me and my wife to go down to DC to get in front of Congress.
That's
So
huge.
I'm gonna
I
go
mean,
down there. They're not gonna be too happy about me, but
hey,
it is what it is. I mean, so you know, um, again, I'm just gonna tell them, listen, guys. I'm gonna tell them a little bit of history of myself, and they're gonna see me in a wheelchair, and as my father said, this disease was always like being buried alive because your mind stays intact. Your body just collapses around you. So it's kind of the reverse of Alzheimer's,
Right.
which is a terrible disease too, but at least you're out of it.
Yep.
Where it's terrible for your family. This one's terrible for your family too, but I still have a cognitive brain that is thinking all the time.
Wow. Yeah.
So,
Something to think about. Yeah.
yeah. What other questions do you guys want to know about?
My
I'm an open book. I've some of the funny things that have happened to me with this disease is I was getting on an airline and I always had status on the airlines. And I was getting on, I was pushing my roller bag and I went right over it. And I went right into some guy's legs. And all I heard was the guy was saying, "Holy shit." And, and I was dumbfounded. My glasses, my phone, everything. It was a yard sale. So, stewards just came running up and they said, "Are you okay?" And myself, I'm in, I think I was in South Korea. And I was like, just tell me you're okay because I don't want to get taken off this airline. I want to go home. So I was dying. I just sat down, said, no, I'm fine. Um, So it's just, I have to laugh at some of these things because early on, like I said, I took about 14 falls. And when your hands can't really protect you,
Yeah.
you go down pretty hard.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. So it's, thankfully I'm really, really careful now. I've learned my lesson a couple of times. Sometimes it's early on because your head is saying, "Oh, run over there and pick something up," and all of a sudden your legs don't move, and you're kind of like, "Oh," so
Right.
just super stuff. You forget that you have this damn disease.
Right. Right. Right.
Yeah. So
I, I think one of my questions is, um, previously on one of our past interviews we had on Sophia. She's actually she's living in Boston right now because she's living on an LVAD device for her heart. She's going to be on a heart transplant list. And, with her, the interview, we could feel, very the similar struggles that you face, because you're faced with this reality. I want to ask you, how do you prepare? Like, what are some ways that you prepared once you officially got this diagnosis? And how could others prepare that are in a similar situation?
yeah, you got to stay ahead of the game. Um, Meaning that, um, even before I requested a wheelchair. The one thing, once you have this disease, the network is unbelievable. The organizations, Team Gleason, Compassionate Care, Falmouth, Mass. I reached out to these people. I told them who I am or what I have. And my wife and I were on a call with Team Gleason for about 10 minutes, and they said, "Okay, you get a wheelchair next week." And
Wow.
this is, it's one of those electric wheelchairs, um, that you can that to travel. It's like 45 pounds. I can bring it on an airline flight and stuff like that. But I got that, and I really didn't use it for like 4 months because I didn't really need it. But it's just staying ahead of things. Um, we have um, we're having a zero clearance shower put in right now because I have a 4-inch lip on the current shower, and that 4 inches is a bitch.
It's a lot.
Um, I'm sorry if I shouldn't swear
No,
on
you
it.
no, 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 no.
No,
You're fine.
yeah, you're fine. We've said
Okay.
worse.
Especially you.
So that's gonna be done shortly. I have a new wheelchair that's a $60,000 wheelchair, and I asked the guy, "Well, does it feature too?" Um, no, but I mean, it's just once again, this sometimes is referred to as the bankruptcy disease because, I have 2 caregivers now and my wife. My wife still works a couple of days a week, but, I can't get out of my bed anymore, without getting help. I can't get off the toilet without getting help. Um, uh, there's certain things that I can do, but, I can't go into the kitchen and get a snack. It just doesn't happen.
Right.
So if someone's not here, I need help. So, you just have to stay ahead of it. I mean, we're looking for um, a wheelchair accessible truck van now because they have this super duper wheelchair coming in, which thank God Social Security pays a good portion of
That's
every
great.
5 years. And I think I know why they said every 5 years. It's because the average person with ALS lives 2 to 5 years. But it's one of two diseases that there's no waiting point at Social Security. Once you go in there and say, I have ALS, everything there's typically to get on Medicare, there's a 9-month waiting period. There's no waiting period for ALS. You get right on. It's the
Wow.
same thing with this new wheelchair. Typically, there's a 6 to 9-month wait for it. I'll have it within 30 days.
Wow.
So once because things can change so rapidly for people. You talked about the girl in Connecticut that had it, the woman. Yeah, I mean, especially if you have bulbar, which is in the throat, which mine is kind of moving there now a little bit, but people, yeah, I know many people that they get it in less than a year, they're gone. And then I know some people that had it for 10 years. So, but on average, they tell you about 2 to 5 years. I'm in my 3rd or 4th year now, so.
Okay.
And I'm kind of what I would call middle stage. Um, I'm still talking. I still eat regular food, but I'm gonna have a feeding tube put in probably sometime this summer. And I don't have to use it, but they said if your breathing score is very low, it's best to have it put in prior to that.
Right.
So these are the things you gotta just, you know, you gotta stay ahead of,
Yeah.
because you don't, it can move quickly. It's like my OT and my PT tell me after January 1st, I just took a nosedive. I don't know what happened. Um, well, I think I know what happened, but I just took a nosedive.
Yeah.
So
John, John, I have a bit of a personal question. You don't have to answer if you're not comfortable doing so. You had answered how you prepare yourself for what's to come. And I know you said that you have children. How do you have that conversation with them when you're fully diagnosed to prepare them for what's possibly to come? Like, what does that look like when you're having that conversation with your family?
yeah, I got diagnosed at Beth Israel in Boston. Um, it wasn't my first choice, but to get in to see a neurologist takes months.
Yeah.
And my wife, who's in the medical industry, pushed like an animal with tears and everything. And she got me within 2 months. But we also got an appointment about 8 months later at Mass General. So we started at Beth Israel, went through 1,000 tests. Got diagnosed in April 2024. And when they told me I was in denial, I, I shouldn't say I was in denial. I knew I already
Yeah.
had it, but I was doing almost everything that I was always doing. Came home, thought about it, called all my kids. Tough conversation, but they were all kind of like, we'll get through this. So yeah, and I have a very good support system, which is very helpful for anybody, any terminal disease. whether it's family members or, I mean, my best caregiver is a 22-year-old pre-med student from Brazil that's just a down-to-earth kid that just really, really nice. So,
That help.
um, oh, it does help. But, every day is kind of different. You wake up some days and you feel like you just ran a marathon, but you only walked about 50 feet the previous day. But
Right.
everything is just sore, so.
I have a question, John. Is ALS, is it strictly like a genetic mutation?
Um, no. The most common is what they call sporadic, which they don't know. They don't carry the C9 mutation or the SOD1 gene. Everyone has a C9 gene, but I have the mutation that can carry ALS. Only about probably 8% of all ALS patients carry that neat C9 gene, and only about 2% carry the SOD1. 90% it's sporadic. They have no idea how people get it. There is a very large concentration in the military. So their thought process is that it's coming from maybe metals or something. They really don't know, which is mind-boggling that this
Right.
disease has been around for so long and we don't have a clue. No, we don't have a cure. And, you know, I don't wanna I look at, when AIDS happened, devastating disease. But they cured it really, really quick. So now you can live if you're HIV positive. Why can't we do that for ALS?
Right.
You know, I mean,
Exactly.
and I don't know, again, these are just some of the things I think about. I mean, I think, and that's why I'm very happy to be a representative, sit down and kick some butt in
That's right.
Congress.
Yeah.
That's right.
Awesome.
Absolutely, John.
Awesome.
It's
Yeah.
fantastic.
You may see me on TV as getting kicked out of the Capitol Hill, but
We'll be like, yep, he's a fool. He's a fool just like us. That's right. Doing all God's work down there.
Yeah. We'll pick you up the honorary fool.
yeah. Yeah, no, exactly. I mean, I have no problem with saying I speak very openly about my disease. I've had Thursday toilet talks. So I just want people to understand it.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's just, but I also have met some wonderful people. I've done some TikToks and, I love gardening, and some guy saw my TikTok and said, "Hey, I live a couple miles away. Let me come dig some holes for you." And I said, "Sure." Um,
See? I love that.
You have any
yeah,
gardening tips? Because I can't keep plants alive to save my life.
We don't have enough time.
yeah, yeah.
And
So,
no.
I mean, it's just, people tell me all the time is, "John, I look forward to your TikTok every
Yeah.
single day.
Yeah.
it gives me hope.
Yeah. Love it. Yeah.
Yeah. And that really wasn't the intention. It was more or less of an awareness video, but I do have a lot of people that comment, "Where'd you get that chair?
Yeah.
What are you doing?" So it's really powerful.
You
Um,
know, years ago, we never assumed that we would ever have social media or that's where we would find our community of people. But I think like we have to take places like TikTok very serious because that's where people go and you can build such a strong as you have such a strong community there. I go through all the comments. It's amazing.
yeah, yeah, no, and again, I know nothing about I look at my videos and I go, "God, they gotta be the most boringest thing." I don't have any songs. I don't have any messages. I never even was on TikTok. And when I decided to become an advocate, I said, "All right, I'll do it on TikTok." I just started one day, and I really need help. I finally got someone to show me how to share with Instagram and Facebook, but I need a little more colors and music, and you know,
It's fine, John. It's fine. The fact that you can do it and post it, like I
Exactly.
can't ask her to do anything because she can't even work electronics. So
I
you're
can't.
fine.
I
Like
can't. I can't.
you're doing a
Yeah.
great job.
You're way ahead of me. You're light
well,
speed
I
ahead.
don't know about that.
Trust me on this, John. You are. I
No,
promise you.
I had my son download you guys.
Oh,
Yes.
thank you. Thank you.
So
Yes.
I have to tell you something, John. Are you born and raised and lived in Kittery, Maine this whole time
No,
or
I was born and raised in Massachusetts,
Oh,
and
whereabouts? Whereabouts in
yeah.
Massachusetts?
We're in Connecticut, so
Marblehead, Massachusetts.
where's that near?
It's about 20 miles north of Boston on the water.
Okay, so
Oh, okay.
not far from us.
No, not
Too far from us. No.
Yeah, and then we lived in Newburyport, Massachusetts
Okay.
Okay.
for about 20. That's right. My wife and I raised our kids. And
Yeah.
with 7 years, we moved up to Kittery. Wrong mistake. Um, I should have gone south.
Is that how you feel?
Oh no.
Well, a little bit because, you know, snow and ice
Oh,
don't
that's
do well with an ALS person.
No.
that's true.
Doesn't do well with anybody, but when you have no balance,
Mm,
Right.
like this winter was brutal.
yeah, that's true.
I do love it here, but I think what happened next year if we can afford it and we can work it out, we'll go south for January, February, March next year.
Good for you.
Good for you.
Yeah, so that's a plan, but
Hey,
tomorrow it could be a different plan.
one day at a time. I think
One day at a
that's for
time.
anybody, you know?
Yeah.
That's for
Yes.
anybody.
Yeah.
That's
I
for
mean,
anybody.
I guess the only good news about this disease, I can kind of plan things, things that if I was just to drop dead, you know, now I've always handled the finances in our house, open the mail, you know, my wife is doing all that now, which is good. She should be. Um, you know, uh, I kind of, I mean, I wish I kind of visited a few more places, but I can't complain because I've traveled all over the world, so it's good, but I do like to travel. And that's one of the things that I do miss.
Yeah.
I miss working. I mean, I'm 63, but actually I enjoy working and traveling.
Right.
So,
Right. Right.
yeah,
And you traveled all around the world.
primarily Asia. I've been to Asia like 50 times.
Wow.
Um,
Do you like it out there? Do you like it out visiting out there?
oh, I love it. It just, one, it's so different. I love the food. The people are wonderful. It's very, very safe. The only downfall, it's a hell of a long way to go.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. Okay, let's play this game. Oh my gosh. Okay.
Oh no.
John, if somebody were to say, I want to go to Asia first time out that way, where are they going? Where do they need to go? See?
Okay.
It depends what you like. If you like cities or if you like beaches, I mean, Thailand is heaven.
I have a cousin that's moving out there shortly. Jaden.
Or to
Yeah.
Thailand?
Oh yeah. He's getting ready to go in like the next, I think, month or so.
Yeah. I mean, Bangkok's a wonderful city. Same with Vietnam. I mean, just great areas. But I
Wow.
also love Hong Kong. I really like China. Um, I've been to Korea many times. Again, wonderful. Japan, wonderful. Taiwan. You know, I've been pretty much everywhere over there. But I
John,
would say,
what were you selling? What
I-
that was
Down the
like
street.
what did you sell?
well, I was different products at different times. So at times I was labeled the APAC sales manager for a company. But then I found a kind of a niche where a lot of small and mid-sized companies here in the United States didn't know how to, they were selling in the United States. They need to grow. They want to sell international. Um, who do I call them? What do I do? So I would go in there and kind of work as a consultant and vice versa. Once I started doing that, companies over in Asia would go, hey, we want to sell into the United States. How do we do that? So it would kind of work. I wish I had found out that little niche 30 years ago. But there's such a high demand for these, large companies. They have the wherewithal and the funds to just hire 100 people over there. That's it. These, 10 million, 50 million, $100 million companies, they're clueless.
Right.
Yeah.
They don't know how to do it. So it's not rocket science. You just have to have a network of people to help you.
Huh.
So again, it's pretty nice when you get to work that business and you're traveling over there to a place you love.
Yeah.
So
Wow.
wish I could still do it.
I bet I know it sounds like you're very successful at it.
Yeah, I mean, I always had a good time. It wasn't like work for me. It was just kind of, you know, I would go for 2 weeks and certainly I would do my share of sightseeing. And plus, they're such proud people that, they would pick you up at the airport. They would just I mean, in the United States, if someone comes in from overseas, you're generally not getting picked up at the airport. they generally say, "Hey, meet us on Monday morning here." These people know how to host someone.
Yeah.
Right, right, right.
Yeah.
Yeah, which is very cool. But, yeah,
Wow.
so, what I'm doing now is just kinda I go from my bedroom to where I am now in the kitchen, to my TV room, and occasionally I go outside. And I'm being treated at the Healy Clinic, Mass General. I've been in 2 trial drugs. I've been patient 001 on both trials. First one was a drug called digoxin, which has been around for years, but they found as a heart medication. But they found out that it slowed the progression of ALS in mice and what other animals. So I went on that trial. No, and then I started another trial in January 1st called Progenics. That damn thing probably almost killed me. Um, and it felt like I was drinking battery acid.
Oh,
And thus I had that taste in my mouth all day,
oh,
and I didn't want to eat anything. So I got really worn down. Um, I had to go into Boston. Oh God, about 10 times in about a month. It was highly intensive. Finally, one day I went in there and said, guys, I'm out. I'm
can't do.
tapping out.
Yeah.
Um, and they were really happy that, they said, we always told you you can back out at a time. I just never been a quitter, so I didn't feel good about it, but in the same token, it knocked me out bad. So I finally, about 2 months ago, I finally got my strength back a little bit. And, I still have ALS, but um, I'm
Wow.
not going downhill as quickly as I was.
Do they, when you do these trials, do they tell you like based on, this we feel like it was successful, or is it
Yeah,
just
normally before they give it to human beings, they run it through, mice or whoever they do it with. So digoxin was already FDA approved. So that was easy. And I'm still on that.
yeah,
Their progenics, um, you have to meet certain criteria. Your breathing score has to be here. Um, Stuff like that. And again, I ended up being patient 001 on it. And boy, I know everybody was like, John, you got to get off that.
yeah?
Yeah.
Everyone in my home. And
No, no, no.
yeah, and again, this is the stuff that I was in phase 1, which is the safety protocol for a drug. So I have no idea. There was only 20 patients in the US that go on it. They won't tell you who else has it and what they've done. But I was like, oh, thank God I'm out.
Yeah,
Yeah.
tap it out. That's it.
Listen, you
Tapping
made a
out.
valiant effort. Yeah, you gotta listen to your body though too. Yeah.
Oh, you do?
Yeah. You have to.
You do.
Yeah. I mean,
John, I just, I don't know what to say.
It's a huge, I mean, it's a huge honor having you on with us right now. We hope you kick butt with Congress.
You need to
Don't
keep up.
back. Yeah.
You tell him.
Yeah.
You tell him. Otherwise, I swear to God, we'll get in the car. You're not
But-
driving, but I'm. I'll
Yeah,
do
we'll
it.
get our we'll get in the van. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. Come on down. The
Yeah.
more
For
the
you, though.
cheerier.
100%.
It's such an honor to have you on today. It really is.
Well, thank you. I'm really glad you guys reach. I try not to say no to anybody that offers these types of engagements. Because again, I feel it's important to get the awareness out there. So that's
Thank you. Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you for your time. Thank you for giving us the time. There's a lot of people, like you, we have people all around the world that might not even know about ALS, but it's all about raising awareness to it.
Right.
yes.
Thank you so much. Really, I mean it.
Absolutely.
It's our pleasure to have you on. Anytime we could share anything or do anything, let us know.
Appreciate it. No, just let people know that it's the Ice Bucket Challenge did wonders for ALS, but it's kind of died down a little bit. So I have a CEO soak June 11th in Seaport, Boston, where they dump water on guys in business suits or women. So, it's just, again, anything I can do to get the awareness out there, that's great. So,
That's fantastic.
thank you for having me.
Thank you.
Thank you, John.
And
Thank you
as
so
I
much.
always say, you got to stay positive. You got to keep trucking. I love everybody out there. And I'll talk to you guys later.
Thank you, John,
Thank
so
you.
much.
Thank you so much.
Okay.
We'll be keeping an eye on you. We'll be keeping an eye on you.
Thank you. Likewise.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Goodbye, John.
Thanks, John.
Bye bye.